about the IRMC Women's Imaging Center, and mammography, 3D mammography, is appropriate at this time because of who we happen to be on the telephone with this morning as we talk to Mika Newton here on Indiana in the Morning. Mika is the CEO of XCures, a health technology company that has created an AI-enabled precision oncology platform. And a recent study shows that women diagnosed with early breast cancer will survive beyond 5 years, according to this particular study, which is good news. Our conversation with Mika is presented by Marcus & Mack, voted Best Personal Injury Law Firm in the Best of Indiana County contest. Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. And Mika happens to be in Spain right now, but based all the way across the nation in California. You're just a world traveler, Mika.
I like to get around. Exciting time.
Well, yeah, it is an exciting time, and especially an exciting time in the art of breast cancer diagnosis, isn't it?
It is. I just read through this entire study. It came out in April of this year, and I think this is just incredibly good news. I mean, it says that most early-stage breast cancer women diagnosed with breast cancer are going to end up as survivors. And I think that's great news, and people should be really excited about that.
Yeah, and they really should. And it confirms what people have been telling us all along, doesn't it?
Well, it says, and it's interesting, the study says they don't quite know exactly why, whether it's more screening or better drugs or medications. It's kind of hard to tease that part out of it. But if you look at, women who were diagnosed between, let's say, 1993 and 1999, who had a 14.4% mortality rate, that means 14.4% of those women passed away, compared to those diagnosed between 2010 and 2015, they had only a 4.9% overall as a group. And so I just think that's really significant. It means we're making progress in cancer, and that's really, really important.
And we really are. And so that gets us up to 2015. In the last 7 or 8 years, it's been even better. And a part of that is something like 3D mammography. We were just talking about it today. It's Mammo Monday at IRMC, our local hospital. So women don't need an appointment. Just walk in and you can get your 3D mammogram. That's a really important technology, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it's screening and detection, right? Detecting the cancer early is what's really important. Because if you look at the good news in this study, it only applies to those women who were diagnosed early, meaning they had breast cancer and maybe possibly they had some spread to the axillary. Those are the lymph nodes in your arm, but it hadn't gone further than that. So cancer is just one of those things that nobody wants to get it, but if you're going to have it diagnosed, you want to get it early. And if you get it early, you can see how much the odds are improving.
Yeah, so the mammography is a big part of that, but there is more to it than mammography, because that's diagnosis, and once you have that diagnosis, then it's time to spring into action. So Mika, your company has to do with AI and its involvement in fighting breast cancer. Tell me how it works.
Yeah, so we do two things for patients. These are diagnosed cancer patients and their doctors. Number one, we aggregate, organize, and structure their medical records. So basically get all your medical records in one place, because often you've seen lots of different doctors along that diagnostic journey and had lots of different tests. So we organize those using machine learning and artificial intelligence to make them really usable. And then we use that data to search a catalog of treatment options, right, and make recommendations. Now, your doctor and you have to decide what's most appropriate, obviously, for your particular case. But with thousands of different potential treatment options, just all this new technology, narrowing that down so that you can make the most up-to-date and relevant decision, we think is really important.
Yeah, and obviously you want to avoid that spread.
Exactly. You want to avoid the spread. You want to have a plan A, and then you always want to have a plan B. I always tell people think about, well, if this first thing we try doesn't work, what are we going to do next? What's our plan going to be? And, we now see survivorship, which is exactly what you see in this study, right? These are people who, you find out you have cancer. It used to be, that was game over. That's not the case anymore. But there's a lot of technology to apply and help manage the situation.
All right. So tell me about that survivorship thing. If you have the diagnosis and you have whatever procedure it is that's going to help you, and you eliminate, at least for a time, the spread of the cancer and the deadly effects of the cancer. What does survivorship, how does that work into this whole equation?
So this is what was so interesting about this. If you look at the cohort that I talked about, that group of patients who were diagnosed between 2010 and 2015, remember this was early stage only, 62.86%, so over, let's just call it 63% of them, had less than a 3% chance of mortality. That means the treatments, whatever was done for them afterwards, worked in more than 97% of the cases. Those start to sound like really good, like regular odds of getting sick, right, and having a bad disease. It's still not something you want to have happen to you. But that is a major improvement, and I think it speaks to just all of the technology. We have better chemotherapeutics, we have better biologics, we have better hormone therapy, right? We have better surgical techniques, we have better X-ray, and so on and so forth. And just putting that all together, and like you talked about, these new mammography techniques for early diagnosis, that the whole system coming together.
Yeah, and it's a pretty exciting development. I know that we talk frequently with the folks over at IRMC. And Dr. Dan Clark, he's really big on the genetic testing, but just the whole thing, the technologies that are out there now. I think probably breast cancer and cancer in general benefit probably as much as any other medical field when it comes to using new technology and developing new technology. That has to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, well, cancer is actually ahead of the game, and it's ahead of the game because I think we've struggled with it as a disease we've all heard of the war on cancer. It's been going on for a long time, and if you read most of the kind of reviews of what's going on, people say we really didn't make a lot of progress, but we've developed a lot of technology, and now it's like finally starting to pay off. It was just a really, really hard problem. And it's not over yet, just to be clear. There's still a lot more to do, but, the genetic testing you just talked about, right? Mm-hmm. Incredibly important. I talk to patients all the time. One of the first things I always ask them is, have you had genetic testing? If you got diagnosed with cancer, you have to get the testing. Talk to your doctor about it because it's going to help drive so many decisions.
Yeah, and a big part of that as well is family history. And so even if you've had the mammography and it's not showing anything, that genetic testing could be something that really gets it as early as possible because it gets you in for more mammograms or whatever the protocol is that's going to help you to understand I'm more at risk than somebody else, and therefore I need to be tested more often.
Yeah, that's right. And there's two types of genetic testing. There's the type you just talked about, which I think of as hereditary testing, right? So if you think about, have there been family members who had these cancers, you can get this testing. And we know now that there's a whole set of genes that really, change your risk. And if you're at higher risk, you need to have better surveillance, essentially. And then there's another set of testing, which is called somatic testing, and that happens after you find out you've been diagnosed with cancer. So that could be testing the tumor itself, or it could be a blood test looking for pieces of the tumor circulating in your blood. And that type of testing can help figure out, basically, are there targeted therapies? So are there specific mutations in your cancer for which we've developed a specific drug? And you may be eligible for those as well. And both types of testing, are just game changers, I think.
Mika Newton is our guest this morning. XCures is his company, a health technology company that created an AI-enabled precision oncology platform. Mika, what got you into it? What made you say, I'm tackling this thing?
Well, I've been working in life sciences for 25 years, always doing technology and data. And then I had my own experience with both my mom and my dad both passed away from cancer-related outcomes overall. And I just thought I'd been working with biopharmaceutical companies, right? I've been developing technology. I've been working with health policy experts. And I thought, can we do something that just helps regular people? Like I wanted this technology platform myself to help me make better decisions for my family. And when I looked for it, it didn't exist. And I met a gentleman called Marty Tenenbaum. Marty's one of the OGs of AI, and he had been working on this idea of continuous learning. And, together we just decided this was the right thing to do.
Yeah, and the amazing thing about it to me is your story, as unique as it is within your industry, is a story that we hear of quite often. It's not like, okay, I've got an idea. Therefore, I'm going to blink my eyes and snap my fingers and it's going to happen. It takes a lot of work to get stuff like this done, and it takes contacts and people with a lot bigger brain than the one I have.
Yeah, it takes an idea. It takes vision. We've been on this journey for over 5 years now, right? And it's just getting going, right? It's working at scale. It's helping lots and lots of people, over 70,000 people now on the platform. And so you're right. It just takes the network, the investment, the capital, the bright people, the dedicated people who work on things because it's the right thing to do. But it's one of the reasons I love being in technology. One of the things I love about our economy and culture here in the United States and being able to develop these types of technology.
Yeah, it is predictive technology too, and that's the pretty exciting thing about it to me. Mika, thank you so much. People want to learn more about XCures. What should they do?
They should check us out. Go to xcures.com, and you can find all sorts of information, videos, podcasts we put up there. And you can also always hit the info, ask a question button, and you'll get a response from our team.
Okay, you're in Spain. You're about 5 hours ahead of us. So what's the evening look like for you in Spain tonight?
Tonight it is going to be, it's a little cloudy right now, but I'm hoping things get going, and they're supposed to have a concert on the beach. I don't know if it's tonight or tomorrow, but they're getting everything set up. So
nice.
I'm going to be enjoying that.
Nice. Have a great day in Spain today, Mika. Thanks for joining us today on Indiana in the Morning.
Of course. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com.